Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for being here. The name of this roundtable now is The Future of Smartphones and Contextual Experiences. So we are here with Jean Varaldi from Qualcomm. Hello, Jean. Hello. With Rafi Haladjian from Sen.se.
Hi.
And Grégoire Gerard who founded Holî.
Hi, guys.
So basically, we will be talking about the house of the future. We'll talk about. I'll try to avoid talking too much about data because we talked about data privacy very much in the previous roundtable. But we'll be able to talk about the technical standards with Qualcomm, the business models, the design and marketing. Of course, we'll talk about what your products do, and also I wanted to talk about what will be the next remote control for the connected house. It seems that since this morning, everybody agreed today that smartphones are the universal house remote control, that you can control everything with a smartphone. But in the real life, we usually put away the phone. So we will be talking about that to figure out what if the voice is the control, or if the phone or the smartwatch or wearables are the control. First of all, I'd like you to introduce a little bit your company. So I have a few slides that you provided me. We'll start with Rafi, if you don't mind. Rafi, you're the pioneer in Internet of Things here.
Yeah, I'm the CEO and founder of Sen.se. Our approach to the Internet of Things, because we've been in that business for 10 years now, is to consider that there is no such thing as the Internet of Things, and that the purpose is to connect everyday life and people's activity rather than connecting devices. So what we are trying to do is to make things that blend into everybody's life, to measure all sorts of things. The motto of our company is the meaning of life, which is basically a tribute to the Monty Pythons. This is basically what we do. Put sensors in all sorts of human activities to measure if you are drinking coffee, sleeping well, watering your plants, walking enough, and all sorts of things.
And it seems that initially you studied semiology. Semiology is the science of gestures.
Semiology is the science of meaning, of science, and how you build languages and systems that create meaning. So I was specially trained to do what I'm doing now, after having worked in connected devices for 30 years.
So basically it helps understanding the data from accelerometers, to understand what the products are, the meaning of the vibrations is, what the products are doing. Is there a link between semiology and
yeah, definitely there's a link between semiology and everything you do. I mean, in creating the kind of design of devices that are meaningful for people, of telling stories, of how you interpret and how you make the data you capture meaningful for people. All of these is semiology.
So, and we see a few slides here about the different applications, and you plan to launch new applications in the future? Do you think they're...
Yeah, today we have, just to explain what we do, we have come up with a sensor called the motion cookie that works with a hub called Mother. What the motion cookie is a universal or generic sensor that the user and the user decides what he wants to use it. We call it a chameleon sensor. So just out of the same sensor, you can decide whether you want to use it as a door opening sensor, or a pedometer, or to measure if you are watering your plants or taking your pills and whatever. The sensor has 7 different algorithms, and we have plenty of other algorithms crunching the data afterwards on the server. Today we have 11 apps. We are working on 4 more, and moreover we're opening our APIs to let anybody develop new apps for the motion cookies.
And the data quickly belongs to?
The data belongs to the user. I mean, our approach is very straightforward. When you buy a Canon camera, Canon never said all pictures you take with my camera belong to me because you have used my devices. We have the same approach. You buy a data generating device, so all the data belongs to you.
Grégoire, we have two slides here about your different products. One is the smart lamp, which is your first product.
Yeah, so basically we do digital lighting systems. So why would you pay attention to this market? Because in France you have like 800 millions of light bulbs in your houses, so it's quite big. And we think that the technology must be transparent. So there are two revolutions on the lighting industry. The lighting industry is very, as an oil industry, and it did not evolve for the last century. And the two revolutions are, the first one is the LED. So LED is an electronic component that you can control, and it's very compact. And so that's the first thing. And the second one is a digital one, thanks to smartphones and tablets. And we see that as a great opportunity to provide new lighting systems that are more durable. The lifetime is more bigger than usual. And you can, because of complexity of components, you can put sensors inside of them.
And your second product that you launched recently is
so last
companion?
Yeah, so last year
we
have launched a smart lamp, which is more like a decorative lighting system dedicated to your living room. And this month we have unveiled and put on the market Sleep Companion, which is simply a light bulb that you put, that you screw into your bedside lamp. And it helps you to sleep better thanks to the light, because we know that light has deep impact on how you are and how you sleep. So we have adapted and designed a specific light bulb for this use.
This morning I said to my mother that I was going to a conference. She asked me what I was going to eat. I said I'll eat Holî and mother. She said Holî mother. She said, oh my God. So it's kind of right. And then we have Qualcomm with Jean. So Qualcomm basically is the biggest maker of mobile phone chips. You recently acquired UK chip maker CSR for $2.5 billion. Right.
Yeah. So again, as I said earlier today, Qualcomm is known in the wireless space, for phone and smartphones. So we have been working to help people to get connected to each other and connected to the internet. That's what we've been doing for like 30 years and better every year. Now our mission is to connect each devices, each equipment, each piece of equipment in your home to each other. And I will explain a bit later how we plan to do that. So that every single device, every single equipment in the house is connected to each other.
So let's go back to the general aspects of how you control your products in the home. So everybody agrees that it should be smartphones. Basically, Amazon comes with Amazon Echo, where you talk to a device. The problem is when you come back with your home, at home with your smartphone, you tend to put it on the charger to recharge the battery. So basically, it can't be the remote control of your home anymore. So what do you think will be the system that will control all the IoT products that will be in a home? Will it be the smartphone, the watch, the glass, the voice?
Well, we consider that if you have to control your home, then it is not smart. So we think, our approach is that the home should take care of itself. Because the real bottleneck is not in technology, the real bottleneck is how is the bandwidth or the cognitive bandwidth of the user. Do you imagine your life with having this smartphone with 30 remote controls on top of it and saying, I want to open the windows and start the heating and turn the shade? Taking these decisions is much more costly than anything else. All I want to do is that the house takes care of itself, so I don't basically need a remote control.
But if the house takes care of itself, basically I'm at home. Well, I'm one of the first mother users, sensors users, so I have some experience in using your products, Rafi. If I go out of my home and I bang the door, I'm the last one who's going out. I want my Holî lamp to switch off eventually. So how do I do that? Technically, it's not possible because the standards are not
You can do it.
talking together.
You can. It's possible.
Okay.
Yeah, the standards are here.
It's possible, it's not
This is
easy.
doable.
It's doable. It's not.
No,
How would you do that?
at home, all is done right now to help you to control your home without your smartphones and switches. For example, if you leave your home, we can detect that you have leaked your Wi-Fi zone or your Bluetooth zone, so we can see, okay, you're outside of the range, so we can switch off the lights. That's very simple. But the next big thing is can we predict when you will get into your room? I don't think it's something very interesting.
Also, I have a question for you, Jean. At Qualcomm, you work on, and there's a great product called Point and Grab, which basically you have a lamp and you do a gesture and you can switch on off the lamp. You say, I want more light, I want less light, just do a gesture. Do you work at Qualcomm on Cunniet-like products that would allow home to control home with natural gestures, where the control would not be the smartphone, would be something else?
So yeah, I mean that's one way of interfacing with the equipment. Of course, which is something that we learn from the smartphone or from the the game console I would say ecosystem. And now with there's more and more power in all electronic devices, it's much easier now to do all these kind of things. But basically, it's just another way to interact with equipment. I just want to comment what you just said earlier. I cannot agree more on what you said. A house, is become smart when it does a number of things on its own. Any of us are doing maybe not hundreds, but tens of things, very basic things on our own. When we see something, we do something else, and it's automatic. We don't even think about it. Usually you close your window when you leave home. That's what you do. Why wouldn't happen itself? Why would the house, detect that you lock the door and then switch off the window? Or why, when the door is closed, why would the heater doesn't, go down on its own? As you say, the technology is here today to do it, but most of the time it's very kind of in silo. You have to use a system from brand A to brand A, brand B, brand B. There is no such ecosystem of devices talking to each other. And that's what we've been working on at Qualcomm a few years ago. We've developed a kind of software ecosystem where devices can discover each other. Important exchange of capabilities. We don't want to keep this out for ourselves, so we give this to the Linux Foundation as a kind of open source software. And now we have like 80 different companies who have used this.
That's the Holî Alliance?
That's absolutely the Holî Alliance.
We have a slide on that.
Yeah, okay, that's right. And I think this is the kind of technology brick that is helping all these devices to get smarter by using capabilities of each other. For example, your fridge will send a notification on your TV saying, "Hey, you forgot to close the door of the fridge." Then you have to maybe stand up or close the door. Or you have a leak somewhere in the house, so your main water tap will switch off, etc. All kind of things that can be done automatically. You have your vacuum cleaner will stop if somebody is ringing at your door. And I can give hundreds of examples of this.
Yeah, can I reply to that? No, I think the key question is, what is the approach of the market? Do we push the technology, or are we inspired by the uses, by the way people would like to use the technology? Personally, I don't believe in the home automation dream, the way that, okay, you lock your door, you close your windows, you close the light, everything's done. I don't believe in that. I do more believe I do more conceive the home like a piece of rooms. So we conceive a lighting system for every room, because I believe that the lighting is not the same for the living room, it's not the same for the bedroom, and we try to, at the end, is to make money, okay? So we need people to understand what we do, and we need to find things that are very easy to understand.
At the end, it's to make people have a better life, then you make money.
And to make money, okay? But we do business, so we try to make money. And if we want people to acquire our devices, we need to have something very simple to understand, simple devices, and we try to focus only on one usage at a time, not a general usage like home automation where you can connect everything. That's why we have conceived Sleep Companion, which is dedicated to sleep better things to the night.
So you mean it's not a priority for you that your products talk with Rafi's products, for example?
No, we can do it. I think the ecosystem need to talk to each other because people are, part of the people are interesting, but most of the people are not yet ready to accept this kind of systems.
Rafi, what general question? What's your vision about the house of the future? How can it be smart?
Well, I don't know why we're talking about smart homes anyway. I mean, why are we building this kind of silos of there's home automation and smart homes and smart health and some smart everything else? I mean, when I think of my life, I don't think of my home as a topic and my health as a topic. I think of myself as myself with all sorts of concerns at every single time. I don't have a phone to call my plumber and different phone to call my doctor. I just have a phone to call anybody, and I have a computer that does it, that does everything. So why should I need a system that is dedicated to home automation and a system that is dedicated to taking my pills? And when I open my fridge, does the sensor on my fridge here to tell me that the door is open and if the fridge is working well? Or is it on the fridge to tell me that I'm snacking too much, that I'm getting fatter, or that I'm eating at night and that I must that I'm binge eating? So, and do I need to put 2 sensors on my fridge to know the two informations? So I think, we should put the user in the middle, and he is going to use all sorts of devices from all sorts of vendors on all sorts of standards, because the dream that considers that everything should work on BLE or everything should work on Wi-Fi is just a dream, because depending on how expensive the device is, how battery efficient it is connected, it is huge, it has a CPU or not, it will have something ranging from Wi-Fi to I don't know, BLE or anything else. But eventually all these data are going to post their data to the internet. So the internet is a cool thing, because on the internet we have all the standards and they all have been tested. So I believe all devices are eventually going to talk to each other on the internet through APIs. And this is easy to do, this is something you can do tomorrow. So you can have something where sensors can turn on the lights, or turn off your thermostat, your Nest thermostat, or your Belkin power supplies, just using the internet. So why do we need standards?
All right. Okay. So because now there's a lot of standards, like OSIN Alliance. You're starting this alliance. I think Microsoft is part of it as well, which an open source alliance. That's nice. And then there is an Industrial Internet Consortium, 1M2M, Open Mobile Alliance, the Fred Group, which came from Nest, which is now operated by Google, Apple HomeKit, and so on. So it seems to be a lot of standards, which means basically there's no standard, right?
Well, there are a number of standards. It's easy to create an acronym. All those standards, all those ecosystem doesn't have the same scale. And I would strongly encourage you to look at the scale of each of those that you just listed, and you see huge difference between some and others.
But the problem with standards is that what is at stake here is what does every device has to say to any other device. I mean, is it just about having a bit from one device to another device? That's an easy thing to do. I mean, you can always agree on a protocol where one bit from your lawnmower gets taken to your toothbrush. But the real problem is, does the toothbrush understand lawnmower language? I mean, what makes sense for a lawnmower? So in order for the toothbrush to understand what the lawnmower says, you would need the toothbrush to know all the meaning and all the logic of every other device in the world in case it encounters one. And this is not feasible. This is why the platform approach is much more realistic, because then you can, explain to the toothbrush what it has to do every time it encounters a lawnmower.
Sure, they have a lot to say.
Unless we decide that definitely there is no reason why toothbrushes shouldn't talk to lawnmowers.
And then we talked in the previous panel, the panelists talked a lot about data ownership. So we understand, it seems your vision is that data is owned by the customer, it's not your data. You just use it to do algorithms and predictive analysis?
Yeah, for sleep tracking, we, of course, we can not say that data do not belong to users. Okay, it's a dead end. But so we use data to improve the algorithm behind the services, because we need to collect a lot of data to be able to design these algorithms that are very complex. And once we have it, we can propose them to the user, and we need to provide services that evolve in time. And at the beginning, people we collect data, and after like 2 months, they have new advices concerning the sleep. But if we do not have data, we can't provide services. So that's a contract between the users and our company.
Okay, so it's interesting because your two companies actually have a sleep solution, sleep monitoring solution. I myself have been using the Withings platform for scale for a long time, and it gives me the carbon dioxide levels in my room. And I have a question about data and data privacy. Basically what happened is my wife usually sleeps with me, and she knows basically how much CO2 we produce together. And one day she went on holidays, and she called me and she said, "You didn't sleep home yesterday evening. I wasn't there, you didn't sleep home.
Did you?
Where were you?" Well, I don't remember. But the fact is that she was able to tell me, no, it's a nice story I'm making for your country. She was able to tell me that I didn't sleep home because the CO2 levels were different than when I sleep alone. And basically, when we see that Fitbit data has been used in a lawsuit in the US last week as evidence, there might be an issue. I mean, have you been thinking about the fact that the data you provide might actually break couples? And because, I mean, there's a lot of implications. The one I'm talking about, you might have never heard about it, but have you just been thinking about all these implications of giving the data about the human actions of people and the actions of objects?
Of course, I mean, we believe that all talking about privacy today is generally very naive, because it turns out like that all the data you have needs to be protected from the NSA and from advertisers and big pharma, whereas your worst enemy is probably your wife, and you don't care that your data is known by the NSA as long as your wife doesn't know it. So it's a very much more complicated topic than what we generally believe.
Grégoire is looking at me. I can see in his eyes that he's wondering, is it true? It's true.
So we found a few solutions that are, I mean, that technically allows you to record your sensors on different accounts and to be the sole owner, even if you are sharing the mother on your account. But basically what we believe is that people need an education. Today people are very naive about what the kind of data a sensor can, I mean, all sensors tell much more than what they are supposed to measure. Metadata tells much more than what you say. So people need this education, they need the experience, they need to see everything that you can take out. And my example of the fridge that just checks whether the door is left open is a good example, because it basically tells you that you are snacking at night. So it's, and education is a good thing. And the second thing that we have noticed with our consumers, that the user's behavior changes as well. So once you start monitoring when people come and go at home, in the beginning you care, and eventually you don't care about it anymore.
Your experience, your personal experience is interesting in a way that, I don't know if you have said that in your living room. I don't care about your couple disorder. No, we at Holî, we use the data to enhance the experience with the product. I mean, you know how much money companies, traditional companies, spend a lot of money to understand how people use their own product. Okay, because we are connected to our own devices, we know how people generally use our products. That's why we came up with a sleep companion, because with smart lamp we have a dawn simulator, and we have seen that a lot of people use it. So that's why we have decided to design a new product dedicated to sleep tracking, and that's a very smart tools for us to know, okay, in real time we know how many people use our product, we know what kind of features they use, and so we can improve by their own use, we can improve and design things that are useful for them. And that's very, very smart in the way to create a company. It's very reacting regarding, we see the market, we design something, and we test, we always testing our features.
Rafi, your product is extremely versatile, and therefore it's impressive, and you're able to create a lot of applications. Are there some applications you wanted to create that you realized, no, not yet, it's not possible yet, I would love to make this app to improve people's information about their life, but it's not possible?
Yes, plenty, because today our sensor, the motion cookie, as its name says, is only makes sense of movement. So all the applications we have today are based on what you can do out of an accelerometer and a temperature sensor. But there are lots of things we would like to know and that require other types of sensors. So, well, it opens ways to make all sorts of other sensors. Our ambition is is the meaning of life, so to cover every activity in life. Even the most mundane.
No announcement today about what the next sensor could be.
Wait for, yes.
All right. I was talking about Holî Mother because I realized that you had funny names. And I had a question about the marketing and the creation, the choice of your names. I have a question about the choice of the names and the choice of the design of your products. Why? I mean, Holî really refers to the light, the religion, the light, and the Holî Mother, and so on. At least for me.
That's an Indian festival, the Indian festival of color.
Yeah.
It's not only Holî in the English way, to understand that.
For Hindus, Shawasti is the Holî Mother as well. When you type Hindu Holî Mother in the Hindu religion, it's Shawasti. It's a goddess of knowledge, music, arts, and wisdom. So how did you choose this name? That's my question.
Like every name of companies, when you want to create one, you try to find a name. No, we didn't want to have something, a technical name, okay, we wanted to have something more, let's say, I'm a designer, and as a designer we try to connect technology and people, and the best way is to use the culture. And we have observed the lighting. We are based in Lyon, where there is a festival of light every year, and we are very attracted by this kind of thing. And we have seen Holî in the festival, and we think that it was a great thing.
And Rafi, you worked on the design of your product, which is like a matryoshka, right? That's the Russian doll. I mean, it's very full when you choose. I understand when you make a lamp, it can be a beautiful object that people want to display because it displays light, so you need to display it prominently. But Rafi, you could have made the choice to have a product that you can hide somewhere, a box, a small invisible box that you hide somewhere, and you decided to make, it's interesting, you decided to make a matryoshka, which is very visible. Is that something you regret? Is that something you...
No, I mean, the problem, I mean, the design process was very, very precise for what we were doing. The idea was to make a versatile product. So you had a product that did many, many things. The problem with a device that does many, many things is how do you explain that it does many, many things? So I mean, Swiss Army knives are always been hard to sell. So we needed a kind of a metaphor that rather put the whole thing. Yeah. So we came up with this mother concept because, well, actually what we do is all sort of things that take care of yourself. And we created this idea of a benevolent character that takes care of everything. and tell the story of the product. It was not random. So once it was called mother, we needed a shape that meant mother, and actually some sort of a women, something that people relate to women, but that doesn't seem too vulgar. So we tried all sorts of shapes, and the matryoshka with a light bulb, because it's the fusion of a matryoshka and light bulb, came as something that seemed feminine enough.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know about the light bulb.
Yes, I think you need to design eye-catchy product. I mean, when you are in a store, you need to attract people. You need to interest them
Right,
into your solution. So you need to design something very special, as Rafi has done with Mother and as we have done with Smart.
That was my next question. I mean, would you advise IoT product companies now to do products that are visible because they will be noticed in the shops, or products that become invisible? If you make an air quality sensor, should it be built inside the window, or should it be a prominent product on the table?
Well, unless you are very, very rich and you have lots of marketing budget, if you're a small startup, I mean, you need to think of every detail, and having something that catches the eye either in media or on store shelves is key. Or this is money you're not going to spend on advertising.
It depends on the use. For sleep companion, 80% of the people use a smartphone to wake up in the morning. So people don't have any more alarm clock on their bedside table. So we definitely can't provide people a new things to put on the table. And so that's why we have designed a specific light bulb that you screw to your bedside lamp instead of designing a smart alarm clock.
All right. We talk a lot about the fact that people use IoT products for a few months and then stop using it. Do you have some feedback to provide us about the usage of the products? Not essentially your products, but IoT products in general. Do you feel people tend to use it more and more, or?
The key question is how can push people to use our products in the time. And we at Holî, we try to develop and enhance our services, our own app, to enhance the app in the time. So we try to provide people new features every 6 months. So there are always something new in enhance.
So what is your business plan for the next few years, your projects for the next few years? Rafi, what's your... can you talk about how do you see your company going forward?
Well, the first thing is to enhance the experience of our users. So once you start making something versatile, it has to be more and more versatile. It starts with a handful of applications, and dozens, and hundreds, etc. So this is our way to have our users keep using our products. I mean, we believe we have made products for real people, and we believe that there are not many needs in real life that you need on long periods of time. So we think that needs shift, and people should have devices that shift according to their needs, even if the same needs come back after a few months. The second thing that we thought about is that motivation today is the biggest bottleneck for the use of IoT. Most people who have an activity tracker stop using it after a couple of months because battery charging seems as a hurdle, and the return on the data or on the effort that you are making is not efficient. So we have designed, especially the cookies, and it was really the basic design requirement to be motivation proof. So cookies live on the same battery for 18 months. They require nothing from the user. They have no button. You just put them somewhere and they work together. So we really build with this idea that today IoT products just live for a couple of months, and it's more about the Internet of Christmas presents than the Internet of Things. So we are trying to really make this thing happen, this thing scale in people's life. We're making devices, things that allow people to have not just a couple of devices in their environment. Because if Internet of Things is really going to be the next big thing after the web and mobile thing, it means that people are going to have not just a handful of more devices in their life. They are going to have tens and 15 and 50 and hundreds of devices. And if you have 100 devices, it's not like having one more than one more than one more. It means that these devices will have to blend into everyday life. The kind of effort you make to program, to use, to charge batteries, to even know what it does, doesn't scale. I mean, if the more devices will have to do, the more these devices will have to disappear. So this is why we believe that at the end, there will be no devices, and the future we see will be very, very mundane. People will not act like in Minority Report, talking to machines, but making silly gestures. They will just do simple things by opening the door, walking the dog, putting their pajamas and going to bed without never pushing a button or speaking to a machine, etc. Machines are going to come into our lives, and we're not going to speak to machines anymore. This is our vision, and this is what we're building.
Thank you. Jean, how do you see? Could you see Qualcomm having the same success in the home automation and the IoT and mobile?
Very much aligned with what just said. Again, we think that every single piece of existing equipment in the house will be connected, and you won't even notice it. You will notice it by experience, but you don't have any specific action. So your switch at home will be connected because there is some value in sharing this information with other equipment. Every bulb will be connected because it can be used by other devices. Every piece of electronics will be connected to each other because again, there's always value in exchanging information.
And what time frame do you see that?
And you see the islands. I mean, there are already, it's coming. You know, it's really coming. I mean, and like any ecosystem, you know, there's always a slow ramp up. When it goes to a certain level, then it goes very fast. Then we talk about being
the tipping point. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for your answers here. Questions, maybe?
Yeah, in order to complete that vision of, we'll have hundreds of devices, and so some of them will have to go away. So from the stupidity of each individual device to the intelligence of the home, the smart home, for which you have very few control, you need to have the ability to abstract over the control of each device. So I know that Google has a vision for that. It's called the physical web, and I think they're not part of this alliance that you were mentioning. So why is that so? And well,
I think I cannot talk on behalf of Google, but again, the purpose of this alliance is to be very industry agnostic. I mean, there is no special, companies holding anything there, and it's really between devices. It's not a centralized, it's not a cloud-based system. It's really in your house. You can have all things connected to each other. Eventually, you can be cloud-based. Eventually, there is value in that, But there are many information that there is no value to bring back to the cloud. If your Ring switch off your speaker, there's no point to go back to the cloud to that. It's local.
But so what would represent this orchestration? Because you say, the switch talks to the light bulbs. So that's one way to orchestrate, but then there could be some other way to orchestrate. Then this switch talks to not this device, to some other device.
So every device will be, dispatches capabilities. Then of course it's up to the homeowner to decide what he wants to do with this kind of implementation.
Right.
If when the door closed, you want to switch off your light, that's up to you. If you don't want to do anything, it's also up to you. So you have to have some kind of level of configurations, but in a common language. The idea is that you can buy any equipment from any brand, and you can make them talk to each other, and you can configure it yourself.
All right. Thanks.
Another question?
Sorry, anybody has another question? No? All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.